Today we are going to discuss 10 of the greatest Christmas films.
Put that cookie down! Now!
That actually aren't Christmas films. I mean, some are not even remotely related to Christmas, but for some reason, every year they find their way into my home. However, there are 3 rules before we get started. No Lord of the Rings, because that would be my top spot. No Harry Potter, because it's too obvious. And no Die Hard, because Die Hard is actually a real Christmas movie. So, let's get started. Number 10. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. This is a story about Randall McMurphy, a rebellious convict who feigns insanity to escape prison labor, and he's sent to a mental institution. There, he clashes with the oppressive nurse Ratched, whose authoritarian control over the patients crushes their spirits. Through McMurphy's defiance, the patients begin to reclaim their individuality, but his resistance comes at a heartbreaking cost. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is far from a traditional Christmas movie, but it can be loosely tied to the holiday spirit through its themes of redemption, camaraderie, and hope. McMurphy's rebellion against Nurse Ratched inspires the patients to rediscover their humanity and sense of agency, echoing the transformative spirit of Christmas stories. Additionally, the idea of bringing light to a dark place, metaphorically liberating the patients, is reminiscent of holiday tales that celebrate kindness and selflessness, even if there aren't any festive decorations in sight. This may be number 10 on this list, but it would be in my top 3 of my favorite films of all time. Maybe that is the reason why I always come back to it during the Christmas holidays. Number 9. Legend.
Come to me.
Legend is a fantasy film in which a young hero named Jack, played by Tom Cruise, must stop the Lord of Darkness from plunging the world into eternal night by destroying the last unicorns. When darkness captures Jack's love, Princess Lily, and corrupts her, Jack teams up with a group of magical allies to rescue her and restore balance to the world. The film is a visually stunning tale of good versus evil, set in a mystical world filled with enchanted forests, mythical creatures, and Tim Curry's unforgettable portrayal of darkness. While Legend isn't a Christmas movie on the surface, it has certain elements that can align with the holiday spirit. Themes of hope, light over darkness, and the power of love to save the day resonate with the core messages of Christmas. Plus, the snowy landscapes, magical creatures, and dreamlike atmosphere give it a wintry, otherworldly feel that could easily put you in the holiday mood. And every time I hear or see Necrogoblicon, I'm instantly reminded of Mac Mucklebones. I mean, the creature design in this movie is stunning. But that comes to no surprise, because Rob Bottin designed the creatures. You know, that's the same guy who worked with John Carpenter on 1982's The Thing. He also worked on RoboCop and Total Recall, all movies with outstanding practical effects.
They basically let me do whatever I want to, and that's really rare in this situation because I'm only 21, and who's going to, trust a 21-year-old to pull off these big, effects in this movie that's supposed to be really good.
Number 8. In Bruges.
I've got to quite like Bruges now. It's like a fucking fairy tale or something.
In Bruges is a dark comedy about 2 hitmen, Ray and Ken, who are sent to the picturesque city of Bruges, Belgium, to lay low after a botched job. As they grapple with guilt, morality, and their own existential crisis, their stay turns chaotic when their volatile boss, Harry, arrives to settle matters. The film is a sharp blend of humor, tragedy, and introspection set against the beautiful yet melancholic backdrop of Bruges. It just radiates a certain feeling that resonates with me, and it must have been the case that I saw this one around Christmas for the first time. Despite the cynicism and sarcasm, this movie has a lot of heart. In Bruges can sneakily be seen as a Christmas movie thanks to its wintry setting, twinkling lights, and moments of reflection on morality and redemption. And actually, the film's themes of forgiveness, second chances, and the bond between its characters echo the emotional undertones of the holiday season. Plus, Bruges itself, with its medieval charm and festive atmosphere, feels like a snow globe brought to life, making it an oddly cozy yet bittersweet pick for the holidays. And it's the funniest film on this list. Number 7. Misery.
Did I do good?
You did great.
What can I say? I love this film. Misery is a psychological thriller about Paul Sheldon, a famous author who is rescued from a car crash by Annie Wilkes, his self-proclaimed #1 fan. What begins as a helpful act quickly turns sinister when Annie holds Paul captive in her remote home, demanding he rewrites his latest manuscript to suit her obsessive fantasies. As Paul fights for his life, the film becomes a tense battle of wits and survival against a deranged captor. I think Misery can be seen as a Christmas movie because of its underlying themes of isolation and a surprising presence of warmth amid darkness. Set during a snowy cold winter, the film's bleak cabin-bound atmosphere evokes the quiet, reflective time. Additionally, the film's slow build of tension and Paul's eventual escape can be seen as a metaphorical holiday miracle, where hope and perseverance triumph in the most unlikely circumstances. But honestly, it's got a lot of snow and isolation, and I think that is as much a part of Christmas as family dinner and coming together. Number 6. Braveheart. Braveheart has been one of my favorite films of all time from the first time I watched it as a child. It's long, yet it doesn't get boring. The soundtrack is magnificent and the story is about love, revenge and freedom. Braveheart tells the story of William Wallace, a Scottish warrior who leads a rebellion against English rule in the late 13th century. After the brutal murder of his wife, Wallace becomes a symbol of freedom and resistance, rallying his people to fight for their independence. The film follows his passionate struggle, ultimately leading to his martyrdom, but leaving a legacy that inspires the Scots to continue the fight for liberty. If I remember correctly, there's only one frame with snow in this movie, and I watched it for the first time in the summer. But for some reason, maybe the Scottish Highlands, the bonding between people, or love as one of the main themes, for me, this is as much as a Christmas movie as Die Hard is. Number 5. End of Days. End of Days, which actually takes place after Christmas, is one of Arnold Schwarzenegger's darker movies. And if I was about ranking my most favorite Schwarzenegger films, End of Days would definitely be among them. Even though critics seem to hate it when it was released in 1999. End of Days is an action thriller set around the turn of the millennium, where a troubled former cop named Jericho Kane is drawn into a battle to stop the devil from bringing about the apocalypse. The devil seeks to impregnate a woman with his child to usher in a new era of darkness, and Jericho must protect her while battling supernatural forces. As the clock ticks down to the year 2000, Jericho faces a final showdown to prevent the end of the world. So, while all of us were celebrating in 1999 and waiting for the millennium to arrive, we didn't realize Schwarzenegger was just about to save the world. And I can still remember buying this film on VHS when I was 9 years old. And I can tell you that subway scene scared the shit out of me. All in all, the perfect flick for December. Number 4. Highlander. Highlander is a fantasy action film about an immortal Scottish swordsman named Conor MacLeod.
I am Conor MacLeod of the Clan MacLeod,
who discovers that he is part of a group of immortals destined to battle each other throughout the centuries.
I cannot die.
Well, everybody's got their problems.
The immortals must fight until only one remains, with the final survivor gaining the prize, a powerful and mysterious reward. As MacLeod faces his enemies, including the ruthless Kurgan, he grapples with the burden of immortality and his connection to both the past and present. While the film itself isn't set around Christmas, it's imbued with a timeless quality, much like the season's focus on tradition and enduring values. The movie's sense of both loss and triumph mirrors the emotional ups and downs of the holidays, with Conor MacLeod ultimately finding a sense of peace, much like the redemption arcs in many Christmas tales. Once again, a big part of this movie is the feeling of isolation, and it just resonates with seasonal winter depression, which can also be described as addictive sadness. And for some reason, I think that this movie is the perfect rendition to that feeling. Number 3. The Shining. I guess that The Shining is a movie that almost everybody out there has seen at least once. Here we are again, snow and isolation. It seems like that is everything it takes to be a Christmas movie for me. But honestly, Shining is one of those movies I'm looking forward to every year around the same time. There's something about this movie that's just absolutely captivating, besides Nicholson's performance. The Shining is an outstanding film with a slow pacing that pulls you into the story step by step. And even though I enjoyed the book more than the movie, I think that this is actually an awesome adaptation. The Shining is a psychological horror film about Jack Torrance, an aspiring writer who takes a job as the winter caretaker of the isolated Overlook Hotel. Alongside Jack are his wife Wendy and his young son Danny, who has psychic abilities that allow him to see the hotel's dark past. As winter sets in, Jack slowly descends into madness, influenced by the hotel's supernatural forces, and becomes a threat to his family's safety. And that feeling of isolation during winter is something that's engraved into my heart, and I love it. And that calm atmosphere that surrounds the Overlook Hotel just vibes with me. Even though this film evolves into madness, it's a slow and eerie masterpiece that may be seen as Kubrick's greatest flick as well. Number 2. The Thing. Let's be honest, when you think of typical Christmas movies, your mind probably goes to Home Alone, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, Scrooged, or even Die Hard. But John Carpenter's The Thing is usually not mentioned here. And I can relate because it really is not a Christmas movie. At its core, it's a horror masterpiece about a shape-shifting alien terrorizing a group of researchers in Antarctica. But isn't Christmas all about unlikely surprises? The Thing might not have twinkling lights or a jolly fat man in a red suit, but it's got snow, bonding, and plenty of spirit. Just, you know, the flesh-absorbing kind. A group of researchers discover an alien life form that can mimic any living creature it comes into contact with. As the creature infiltrates their ranks, paranoia and distrust spread among the team as they try to figure out who is still human and who is now the deadly alien. With the threat of complete annihilation, the team must figure out how to destroy the creature before it escapes and spreads beyond the isolated research station. It's set in the snow, and snow equals Christmas. Well, kind of. The holidays are a time for people to come together. So is The Thing. These guys are stuck in a remote outpost, isolated from the world and forced to work as a team, just like your family during Christmas dinner. Also, nothing brings people closer than shared activities, and in The Thing, that includes blood tests, flamethrowing contests, and figuring out how to incinerate a head with spider legs. The Grinch may hate Christmas, but The Thing hates everything. Instead of stealing presents and Christmas cheer, this monster steals your identity and your DNA. But they both have one thing in common: they ruin every party they attend. Christmas is all about trust, like trusting your loved ones to buy you a decent gift. Now, The Thing takes this idea to a whole new level. Can you trust the guy sitting across the table from you not to explode into a pile of writhing alien tentacles? Probably not. Sure, The Thing doesn't have Santa or reindeer, but it does have snow and a group of people learning the value of teamwork. It's a perfect reminder that the holidays aren't always about perfection. They are about surviving the madness together, one day at a time. Number 1. Lethal Weapon.
A lot of people have got problems, especially during the silly season like now.
And this is really my number 1 Christmas movie that isn't actually a Christmas movie. Lethal Weapon is the ultimate buddy cop film. And it's one of Gibson's and Glover's greatest performances ever. They just had an unreal chemistry here.
Maybe we'll stay alive long enough for me to buy you a present.
The movie's actually set during Christmas time, so that adds a lot to the atmosphere. Also, you get that warm family feeling. But maybe you might even relate more to Riggs. It all depends on where you stand in life. Lethal Weapon is an action-packed buddy cop film that follows 2 detectives, Martin Riggs and Roger Murtaugh. They are forced to work together to solve the case of a drug ring operating in Los Angeles. But this is actually much deeper than other buddy cop movies.
Every single day I wake up and I think of a reason not to do it every single day.
Riggs, a suicidal and reckless officer with a tragic past, contrasts with Murtaugh, a more seasoned and cautious cop who is nearing retirement. As they develop an unlikely partnership, they face personal struggles, high-stakes action, and a series of dangerous confrontations, culminating in a final showdown with the criminals. This movie encapsulates the zeitgeist of 80s action films. It embodies the Christmas spirit without being a Christmas film, and especially Rick's struggle with his past and being pulled out of darkness by his new partner Murto and his family gives you a feeling that resembles appreciation for the small things that actually turn out to be the big things. You know, the things that really matter in life. And they basically adopt Riggs and make him a part of the family. I can't even tell how many times I've seen this movie. It's one of those films I enjoy every now and then because it fills my heart with nostalgia and ease. On top of that, it has spawned 3 sequels, which were all amazing on their own, which is a rather rare case. And even though any of those 4 movies could be number 1 on this list, it's actually the first one that stuck most with me. But what are your most beloved Christmas films that aren't actually Christmas films? What do you watch around the holidays every year? I'd love to know your picks. That's it for today, and I'll see you next time.